What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So this might be a first for me. I can't think of any other time I've had to do this. And some of this might just be because of the show and how much I'm obviously not a fan of it and how bad a lot of the writing can be. I haven't actually watched this. So Season 2, Episode 7 of Batwoman. It's best you stop digging. Believe me, I wish I could. I've paused it after the very first line of this episode to talk about it, because it's so dumb that I just feel like I need to make sure that I don't forget it, because I'm sure there's going to be other dumb stuff that happens throughout this episode that might make me forget. So Ryan's screaming on table, and her line is, "It feels like my brain is hemorrhaging." First of all, outside of doctors, does anybody just in normal life use the term hemorrhaging or hemorrhage? Most people just say bleeding, because that's basically what hemorrhaging is. Most of the time, hemorrhage is like something inside the body, I'm pretty sure is where you hear that. But hemorrhaging is bleeding. Most people just say bleeding, unless you're probably in that profession that uses that terminology. And I'm pretty sure Ryan is not in that profession. She grew up on the streets. So, that's already dumb. Second of all, how do you know what that would even feel like? Your brain, you can't tell if your brain is bleeding or hemorrhaging, or, I mean, if her head really hurts, that would be one thing. But she just literally says, "It feels like my brain is hemorrhaging." Am I the only one that thinks that is one of the dumbest lines ever? Who says that in normal life? And the thing is, it would be one thing if they wanted to say that because, well, we need to let people know that her brain is hemorrhaging right now. If they wanted to let people know that, if they wanted to let the audience know that, there's a way you can do that with her being like, "I feel like my head's going to explode," and then you can have Mary, who is a doctor, be like, "I think she's got a hemorrhage in her brain." Something like that. But they went with Ryan saying, "I feel like my brain is hemorrhaging." So, anyways, I'm going to pause this review, get back to this episode, and talk to you guys at the end of it. But it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting because I don't like this show. But that line just is probably the worst way I've ever seen one of these episodes start. Because this is one of the worst written lines I think I've heard in a while. And there are a lot of bad ones on this show. So, let's get back to it. Alright, now having finished up this episode, apparently we are revisiting crap plot lines from the first season, so let me go ahead and say this again. Kate is not at fault for not sensing her twin sister on the other side of a door when her twin sister didn't make any noise at all to let her know she was there. As far as we know, Kate was not psychic. So her blaming her and Ocean being like, "Okay, yeah, I get it, but, you know, don't let that be your whole..." Like, nobody in their right mind would think that Kate was at fault there. Honestly, some people would even say that Beth is not necessarily at fault because she was scared that they might kill her sister and dad, so that's why she didn't make a noise. It's still not Kate's fault. It's not her dad's fault. Also, another crap plot line that they decided to bring back for some reason, Catherine did not show Jacob the bones of Alice to convince him she was dead. Convince him that she was dead. Okay, sorry, my brain's all over the place. But she didn't do that for him. She didn't do that for his best interest. She did it for her best interest. She was sick of him looking for his previous wife and kid from his previous marriage. She was sick of that. She wanted him to herself. Now, you know, whether or not she did think that it might help him, doesn't matter. She did what was best for her. She was tired of him looking for all of that stuff. And we see she's not a good person. We've seen how much she was doing at Hamilton that was not good, that was evil. Clearly, she's the type of person that, oh, my husband doesn't want to pay attention to me because he's too busy looking for his previous wife and daughter. Nope. I don't like that. I'm going to fake their deaths. Yep. And he'll stop looking for them then. He certainly will. And he'll pay more attention to me. So yeah, 2 plot lines that for some reason the writers... I kind of was hoping that the writers would sort of flip the script this season and be like, hey, guess what? We realized that was stupid, so we're going to flip that around. You know, maybe have Ocean sort of throw it in her face. Because there was one point, I can't remember if it was this episode or one of the previous ones, but there was a point where Ocean was talking to her about all of that, you know, going to get revenge and stuff, and he mentioned that it wasn't a good idea. And so I kind of wondered, are we going to start taking that route where people start going to Alice and saying, hey, maybe this is kind of stupid. Maybe your reasoning is really dumb. But no. Her reasoning apparently is still totally valid. But just the act of going and getting revenge, like, that can't be all there is. You have to live for more than just getting revenge for, you know, your non-psychic sister not psychically knowing you were behind a door. So that's really dumb. Ryan is really dumb. She's still not a likable protagonist. Somehow, like, she keeps going through these bouts of pain that some of them are so bad she can't walk, and then some of them are just so bad that she can't fight for a second, but then can instantly gain the upper hand on Alice in the next instant. Don't know how any of that works, but yeah, basically it's one of those pains that's fatal and is killing her, but only whenever it's convenient for the plot for her to be that in pain. Her going and visiting Angelique, stupid. And Angelique as well. This black girl shows up on your balcony calling you Angie. Two? Can you put them together? Can you put them together and make 4? Maybe this girl who seems to know who you are, maybe it's your very close friend. Hello? Like, I don't know. I don't get that. I don't understand. Like, I know she's wearing a mask. I get that. So I get the mask would be obscuring her face. I still feel like you can see her whole bottom jaw. And especially, again, because, and I talked about this a bit with Sophie last season, obviously they didn't kiss in this scene, but I would know my girlfriend's jaw. I would. Because your eyes kind of go there whenever you're thinking about, you know, making out with them. So if they've been together as long as this show implies that they have, since they were, 12, 13, basically, you would recognize that part of their face if you were dating them. And yet somehow, like, all of these, you got this puzzle with like 4 pieces, and somehow she can't fit the pieces together. On top of that, the fact that she's already apparently like seeing another girl is just kind of, at least that's what they seem to imply. I don't know. If not, then what was that random girl doing there? But it is kind of, okay, their whole thing, their whole like breakup, whatever, just happened. And she's already moved on. Please tell me this at least will be the point where Ryan goes, maybe she's not the best person. Because, my God, I don't even care about any of the relationships in this show. But please tell me that at this point, Ryan stops. You know, because even if I don't like the relationships, if you're going to show toxic relationships as being a good thing, that's where I'm going to draw some serious issues. Because it's an issue I have with the CW in general. You know, Ocean and Alice, they got together. Why? Because they were constantly bickering and fighting, and they seemed to hate each other. So that equals true love, surely. Every time. Every time. You have a man and a woman, or sometimes, you know, if you know that they're lesbians, a woman and a woman. If you have that type of relationship, it's going to instantly lead to love at some point. Like, out of nowhere, they're going to be fighting, they're going to be angry, yelling at each other, I hate you, and then they're going to start kissing or something like that. It just, every single time. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you know somebody that is, you know, the sex that you're attracted to, if you're constantly arguing and bickering with them all the time, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now, that is not love. So please do not pursue that as a relationship, because that's not going to lead anywhere positive. So anyways, but yeah, all this stuff with Alice, though, is just stuff we already pretty much knew. You know, we knew that they had taken Desert Rose at some point. We knew they had fallen in love at some point. I guess the only real information that Savia apparently loved Alice. Okay, another random plot point thrown in. And none of it's really that interesting. And on top of that, the acting for most of it, because I already have expressed Alice's acting and how bad she is at acting crazy. Tatiana is just, not once have I been convinced by anything that she has said since she's shown up this season. Like, almost every single line is delivered with this undertone of almost lack of emotion. Everything sounds like this all the time, and she just never seems like she actually believes anything she's saying. It's almost like there is a teleprompter behind the camera and she's just reading off of that teleprompter the whole time. Never once shows any sort of emotion. The one time she does show emotion is whenever she's not talking, when she sees Alice and Ocean kissing, and which is weird to me because it looked like she was sad, but the implication is that she loves Savia. And so if she loves Savia, seeing Alice and Ocean kissing would be a good thing. So she wouldn't be crying, she would be happy and kind of like evilly smiling or something like that. But no, she looks sad. So is she lying about loving Savia? Is it actually she loves Ocean or Alice? And so that upset, I don't know. But then she does, like, I swear it's straight up Wormtongue ripoff from Lord of the Rings. Like the way she gets up, Alice is a snake on this island. Like, why is she slurring her S's now? Savia as well, she's been fine acting wise, but her whole angry acting really, it was bad. Like, she's fine whenever she's just talking normally. Like, those scenes, she's okay. She sounds like she believes what she's saying. You know, she's acting fine. But when she had to act angry and pissed and yelling at people, honestly, I feel like she should just stay, like, maybe stern. Maybe more like, you know, she's talking with real authority about everything that happened. But when she started yelling, like, I don't know, especially when her voice got very, not gravelly, but kind of raspy when she started yelling, that it sounded like somebody who didn't know how to yell convincingly. I want to sound angry, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make my voice sound like I'm angry, and it's bad. I think that's about it for this episode, though. Yeah. Again, I knew when I started this show, I knew I was getting into, but there's still just that morbid curiosity that I wonder where it's possibly going to go from here. Because I assume we're getting, probably near halfway point. So I would assume the halfway point is going to be them going to Coriana, getting the Desert Rose or whatever, saving Ryan as well as maybe stopping Savia. But if that's the case, I don't know what's going to happen for the second half of the season. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens next, but yeah, on to the next episode. I'll see you there. And now, episode 8, Survived Much Worse. If I survived this show, I'm not sure there's much worse I could have survived. Honestly, I feel like that's going to be my favorite part of each of these episodes, is coming up with a joke based on the title, just to trash on the show. Oh my god, the writing team for this show is so stupid. Because first of all, just the opening scene, you can tell, again, they're so full of themselves. Like, they're writing this epic drama. They have both of, Alice and Ryan just writing to Kate, talking like on the two separate sides. One talking about how she meant everything to her and how she helped her become a hero. The other one talking parallel, like you're the one that made me become a villain, blah, blah, blah. It's so pretentious in the writing. I couldn't stand it. But then all of this episode happens. It's pretty straightforward. The EMP, for some reason, knocks out all of the power a few seconds after. No, actually, not even a few seconds, like a few minutes after Ryan lands. Just long enough to where she can confirm, hey, I've landed. And then a few seconds later, then all of a sudden the power's gone. Even though we saw it was already gone because they cut to Sophie seeing that her bracelets had turned off. So yeah, I don't know why. But anyways, yeah, I mean, everything to do with this episode. You've got Sophie and Jacob. They escape from Tatiana. They suddenly smell some sort of bomb-making stuff. And then they find a plane. I don't know. Yeah, Kate has been dead this whole time. Which, I mean, if you knew Ruby Rose was off the show, which most people did, I feel like this is not some big epic twist. This is like a, oh, okay, so then why did we pretend like she wasn't dead yet? Because we knew she wasn't going to come back. So, either you write her off the show right at the beginning of this season, or you just say, yeah, we couldn't find her body, we lied to you about that. But no, they found the body, they confirmed she's dead, so then why did we pretend like she wasn't for all these episodes? It felt like they wanted to stretch out this story, and again, everybody knew Ruby Rose left the show. She didn't want to come back, so why even pretend that there's a chance that we could find her still alive? It just... Unless you're going to basically say she's away or somehow she changed her face. Maybe she got burned beyond recognition like what they did with Ralph Dibny. I mean, you didn't do any of that, so it just feels like you wanted to pad your runtime by giving us this false hope. Because, again, some of us don't really care. But, yeah, false hope that Kate was still alive. Just stupid. Everything to do with Sophia, again, still... not that convincing when she's angry. I really don't understand. So first of all, she has just flames all around, even though obviously this Desert Rose is so important to her. But also, there are these random explosive carts amongst all the Desert Roses. So one flame gets on one of the bushes, and then the entire field goes up in flames. Because you have all of these explosive carts in there. What are the carts even holding? Just bombs randomly? Also, I will say, I think whoever did the CGI fire probably got fired. Because, oh, wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. The CGI in this show, in The Flash and Supergirl, it's not really been that great. The fire, though? I feel like you should be able to make convincing CGI fire or actually just burn some bushes and make it look like they're burning. But for some reason, they asked some cartoonists to come in and draw fire on top of all of these bushes. They're just like, but this doesn't look realistic at all. It doesn't matter. Nobody's watching the show. It's Batwoman. But yeah, that was ridiculous. What else? Yeah, Alice apparently not wanting Kate to actually be dead, even though she feels betrayed, blah, 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 blah. Sure, I guess because you wanted us to give a reason to be like, oh, okay, so Alice is going to find Kate and not kill her, so we can be happy that Kate's dead? No. I guess they were setting up for that reveal. It was just dumb. Tatiana being the one that apparently blew up the plane and sent the letter to Alice and being the one that orchestrated all of this. Okay. The Desert Rose, I didn't think it healed wounds. I thought it healed, like, blood issues, like poisons and, anything. Obviously, cancer is, like, cell growth and stuff like. Somebody gets stabbed, you give them the Desert Rose, the wound just goes, like, just heals up. The artery heals up. What? Why? I didn't think that was right, but whatever. But I think that's about it as far as all the stuff that was just kind of dumb. The really dumb, really stupid part of this episode is, of course, everything to do with Luke and Mary. Because, oh boy, first of all, one of the many hands shows up to kill Luke and Mary. Doesn't kill them. Already, off the bat. What? Doesn't kill them. Mary somehow dodges multiple swipes from this woman. Then Luke is like, hey, I've got a lamp. And the woman's like, ooh, I'll turn my back on this one behind me to be easily distracted by a lamp because I'm a moth, apparently? And then Mary comes up with a glass thing, whatever, and smashes it over her head. And then she falls on top of Ryan's plant that Angelique had given her. So first of all, the fact that the plant was on the ground and didn't just smash when it fell off the table was already kind of a... What is that pot made out of? Is it metal? Because it looks ceramic, and I feel like a ceramic pot hitting the ground would fall everywhere, but whatever. She falls on top of the plant, to which Mary decides, I'm gonna move her body to get the plant, and there's this whole goofy... They play it like, oh, it's so silly, guys. She's moving a body off the plant because she wants to go get it. I'm just sitting here going, why are we spending time on this? So then they move the body off the plant. They get the plant. And then she suddenly starts waking up. And then Julia comes out of nowhere and then stabs her and kills her. So first of all, again, the fact that she didn't kill Mary and Luke right away. And then Mary managed to best her by smashing her over the head with a glass... What's it called? Colander thing? I don't know. She falls on top of the plant. They spend time getting the plant off of her, and then Julia shows up to help out and kill her to save them. All of this is to set up at the end when Mary looks at the plant and goes, oh my god. And that's when it hits me. The writers really decided that this would be such a big epic twist that the plant is actually a desert rose this whole time. Because has it been kind of set up? I think. I don't remember. I thought the plant was given to Ryan a while ago. Because I thought it was previous to when like Angelique was like doing all the drug stuff and all of that. Which should have been before Ocean came over and started doing his drug stuff. So I don't think he would have brought the Desert Rose over by then. But even if he did, why would he just give a random Desert Rose to this random girl? And be like, here you go. And then Angelique's like, oh, I like this. I'm going to give this to my girlfriend. Why would any of that happen? Like, knowing what the Desert Rose is, I don't feel like Ocean would just do that. Like, I'm pretty sure he was growing, or he was trying to grow it. Or something like that. I don't know. It feels very coincidental, plot-driven, and just so stupid that you have to find a way for this to be a Desert Rose. So let's have this random woman not be able to beat Mary and Luke in a fight. Mary knock her out, have her bleed somehow onto the plant so that way you can reveal that's a Desert Rose. You couldn't just have... the whole, she tells Sophia that the body is not actually Ocean's. You couldn't have that be the reason. You had to write in this other stupid thing that happens for the Desert Rose to be hers. So, yeah, that peak stupidity for this season so far. 100%. And I'm already low on time, and I've got one more episode to get through, so I probably should just cut it short there, get to this final episode, so I'll see you there. And finally, episode 9, rule number 1. So obviously I don't have a whole lot of time, so I gotta get this quickly. First of all, my mistake. Didn't realize that was Kate that they were showing at the end of last episode with the face all messed up and the necklace. Honestly, I thought it was just a dead body that was going around leaving those, because I was pretty sure Sophia had a room full of those necklaces hanging. Like, that's what that was, right? So I had assumed that somebody was, like, going and killing people and putting that necklace on them, like it might be an Alice thing. Like, she was trying to bring Kate back in the like, down the road or something a few months later. I don't know. I didn't look at that and think, oh, that's Kate's necklace, so that's gotta be Kate. It wasn't until Black Mask at the beginning of this episode said she was Kate. That's when it clicked. I'm like, oh, that's what they were trying to show. We're not very good at doing that. But anyway, a lot of the stuff in this is just basically they're getting up on their soapbox and they're preaching about how the police all are terrible. All the police do is hate on minorities and arrest minorities, and that's the whole thing of the police, and we need to... That it's basically just preaching that message. And again, anybody watching your show, probably not people who are you're even trying to reach out to. You're just basically speaking to people who already agree with you on that, and yeah, that's basically it. And it's so funny too, because these shows tend to have like, well, how would you solve it? Well, this is what we should do, and do this, and do this. And it just completely ignores that the world is the way the world is, and that bad people do exist. It's like, no. It's not that the people are bad, that are being put in jail. It's that the system is failing them. Some people are just bad. Some people, they get kicks out of doing terrible things, because some people just... I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying everybody ends up in prison is rightfully there. But I really don't think a majority of the people that are in there because, oh, well, just the police are bad. And this show certainly wants you to think that's the case. So yeah, Jordan, insufferable. Apparently we're ignoring what happened 2 episodes ago, by the way, and I guess it makes sense because that's how these CW shows work. Something happens and then 2 episodes later the writers completely forget what they previously wrote. Because Batwoman showing up at Angelique's balcony, not even talked about this episode. Because first of all, whenever Ryan mentions that she knows Batwoman, that doesn't get brought up at all. Like, Angelique doesn't say, she showed up on my balcony. And Ryan at no point brings up the fact that Angelique moved on to another girl, seemingly, immediately after they had their little dumping moment. So we just ignoring that whole scene? Was that scene pointless? Did that scene not even happen? Hello? Because again, like I said, I'm looking at Ryan and Angelique's relationship, and I'm thinking, I don't even care about it, but it's a very toxic relationship. So if they show that that's who Ryan is going to end up with and who she really feels like she belongs with, I'm going to have to sit here and go, Batwoman, you're kind of pushing the terrible message of toxic relationships are good for you. Because that's what Angelique is. Doesn't matter that she's trying to turn her life around. She's not. It's the thing. She says she is because she wants to get back with Ryan because she realizes that she wants to be with her. So she says she's trying to turn her life around, but immediately goes and helps shoots the commissioner. And then she says, she would never lie to her, and then she lies to her and turns herself in. So yeah, toxic relationships, not okay. Don't listen to Batwoman. Don't listen to the writers of Batwoman. If there's an ex that lied to you, that is into the whole drug scene, that is a criminal, that went and slept with somebody right after you two broke up, seemingly, don't get back with them, please. They're not right for you. They don't deserve you. Move on. And let them go on with their life. It doesn't matter if they come crying back to you. You push them away and go, nope, you don't belong in my life. Instead of what this show is like, oh, tell me the lesbian drama. Mary's insufferable as well. I hate it because, again, Dr. Mary last season was pretty interesting. Dr. Mary this season, we've hardly gotten any of it, and the little bit that we've gotten, her acting has not been good enough to really carry the character. So yeah. Stuff with Julia, I don't know if it's going to be interesting or not. Apparently she did an investigation and forgot about it, so I guess maybe this Enigma person erased her memory as well. Don't know why Enigma is working with Black Mask. I will say this is where having a show where you haven't established the world, but it feels like they're pulling from some elements of the world. There was a Batman, it was Bruce Wayne. There's a Joker, with Zaz. It's, oh yeah, I fought Batman. Okay, so you've established some of that, but Black Mask is an established Batman villain that we all know, if you know the Batman lore, is Roman Sionis behind the mask. So it feels like they're keeping his identity hidden. They did show him in his acting. And on top of that, just the way he talks too. It's just anybody who listens to what he's saying, talking about, he said something about hiding faces or something like that. And all I could think is, okay, so people are not going to put two and two together that he's the one in charge of the False Face Society, even though it's almost like what's her name from Scooby-Doo 2 talking about unmasking the Mystery Inc. gang, and it turns out she's the one that's the villain. It's like, well, obviously, because you said at some point that you wanted to unmask them, and so did the villain, so of course. So yeah, I don't know. That just seems kind of dumb to me. But yeah, I don't know what their plan is with Kate Kane. I guess they're going to hypnotize her and make her think she's somebody else. I guess this means they're recasting, possibly, because her face is all burned, so I guess they're going to give her a new face. Okay. Let's see. I feel like that's most of it. Again, I don't have much time, so I can't get into every single little thing that bugged me in this episode. But yeah, overall, I mean, the writing is still just really poor. Focusing more on representation, focusing more on trying to preach and get their message out than trying to write a good show. And you know, if you want to make a message, if you want to make a statement, there are other ways to do it than writing a poorly written show. You know, because if that's all your show is focused on, is just preaching your message, it's not going to be entertaining to anybody but the people who agree with your message. And even then, at some point, they're going to be like, okay, I mean, you've said similar things before. I mean, this whole season, almost every single episode, there's been something about how, oh, well, black people are just oppressed by the police and the crows and the law is wrong. Okay, sure. Yeah, the law is wrong, so what, we just get rid of the law, we have total anarchy? Makes sense. But anyways, that's about all I've got, so let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 3 episodes? Let me know, we can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe, future Batwoman reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.